Hello, thanks for joining me at Beadschool. This is a project called Medieval Charms, and it's a great little project. It's going to span 2 videos, and this is what you will be making, these tiny little charms that can be made into earrings or put onto a little chain bracelet or even used as pendants. They're a great little way of using up small amounts of seed beads because you only need a few for each one. In this part 1 video, I'm going to show you how to make the basic unit, and then in part 2 we will move on to making this little cross. Now I'll just clear my workstation. Okay, these are the materials I'm going to be using. Some 4-pound fire line, a size 12 beading needle which I've already threaded up, and some size 11 seed beads. I'll just set that aside. Now for the basic unit, I'm going to pick up 4 size 11 seed beads and bring them down towards the end. Leave a nice little tail thread. And I'm going to pass all the way through them again, so you can see there's a loop. And I'm going to make them into a circle. Now, won't make much of a circle yet, but if I pass the needle once more into the first of the 4 beads, and as soon as I pull it tight, you'll see they form a nice circle, and the beads are at right angles to each other in a north, south, east, west formation. And I'm going to build on this first bead where the thread is coming out. I'm going to build a little Super Picot. I call it Super Picot because it's really going to stand up nice and firm and stay perky. So I'm going to pick up 2 seed beads, and if you can see that the thread is coming out of this top part of the bead, well, I'm going to go in the same direction and make a loop. And as I pull it tightly, if you can see, I'll put it down on the mat. Now I've built a little, it's the beginnings of a picot off this greeny coloured bead, and I'm going to pass the needle through one of the 2 I've just picked up and pick up another one. This is the 3rd and final. This is the point of the picot, and I'm going to pass through the little partner bead of those 2 that I picked up a minute ago, and back again through that green bead that was one of the 4 of the original ones I picked up. So they're the original ones I picked up, and there is this little Super Picot that I've made. And now I'm going to move on and build one on this bead. So I'm going to turn the beads around in my hand and pass the needle through the next one of the original 4 that I picked up, and I'm going to do the same thing again. Pick up 2 and pass through that bead in the same direction as the thread is going, and draw them up tight so that they sit and they split apart. And I'm going to continue round and go through one of that pair and pick up the point of this picot, and I'm going down through the partner of that pair. And what I will do actually is pull that tight. I'm going to pull the point bead and pass through the one bead that's of the 4, the original 4. Take this tail thread out of the way. the original 4 that I picked up. So I'm just going to tighten it and pull through. There we are. And now, if I lay that down, and I'll just arrange the beads so that you can see what's happening. I've got the original 4 there. That one's lying on its side slightly. The original 4 there, and a little Super Picot here and a Super Picot here. And I'm going to move on to this bead now, as the thread is coming out of the bead next to it, and build one on there. So I'm going to pass up through that. Now, same again, pick up the 2, pass through it in the same direction, and split the pair, and pick up the point. Up to now I've slowed it right down so that you can see clearly what I'm doing, and you can see the shape is taking shape. And now I've only got 1 bead of the original 4 left without a little Super Picot on it. So I'm going to move on to it, pass through it, and build on there, and just speed up a little bit. Split the pair and put the final point in. And pass through that last bead of the 4. Now, if I lie that down, you can see clearly. There's my little, it actually is a Quatrefoil shape. Now, I'm going to finish it off and tighten everything up because I don't want my little charm being wiggly and soft. So I'm going to pass around the beads a few times. I'm going to pass around the inner beads, the central 4, a number of times. As you can see, I'm going through all 4. This is the 4th one. And I'm going to follow the thread path up and around this Super Picot. And I suggest you would do that for all of them, all of the Super Picots, just to really secure them nice and tightly. And you have to go right the way round and back down to the original bead at the centre, one of the 4 beads at the centre, and I'm going to go down around this Super Picot, following the thread path, and through, and again I'm going to move on to this one. This will be the last one, and then I'm going to show you how to finish off the thread. I think I've got the one more to do. And they're feeling a lot more solid now. There we are. And now I'm going to start tying off the thread and finishing it off. And the way I'm going to do that is there are threads here between these 2 base 4 beads, and I'm going to pass the needle underneath those threads, just not pull it right the way through, but just leave that loop, and I'm going to pass the needle through the loop, and this is a half hitch knot, and it ties that off. And then I'm going to do again the same, pass through another of these, and again under the thread between these 2 beads until there's only a little loop, and pull it tight and throw all my beads around. And I'm going to make one more past move the thread on a little bit more. Now one more knot between these two beads, going under the thread, making a loop and pulling it tight. And then with this thread I'm going to weave through that bead and come out at the tip of this nearest branch, nearest little Super Picot, and I'm going to cut that off. So that remains. The tail thread needs to be sewn in, and I would do the same with that, exactly the same as I did with the working thread. And you can see it's a lot more solid, this piece. Now to make it into a charm, I would use one of these little jump rings, and I've got some flat nose pliers here, and in order to attach it to the bracelet, as you can see here, some of them I've actually put the jump ring, the little jump ring in through the beads, and that's if the hole's big enough. If not, in the case of these beads, I didn't have enough space to put the jump ring in to start with, so I used some little tiny size 15 check charlottes to just make a little tiny loop around the top, and then I could easily pass the jump ring through there. But with these I'm going to give it a go and try and put the jump ring through, and let's just see if it fits. And it's disappeared. No, it didn't. Let's give it a go. And it fits beautifully. Managed to thread it on. And all needs to be done is just to be closed, and what I do is choose a link on the chain that I'd like to put it on. Let's just say randomly there. And so that's through one of the beads and through a link on the chain, and I'm just going to bring the two sides together and make sure that they're nice and flat and together, no holes. And all I would need to do, as I said earlier, is just sew in the tail thread. And there's the little charm on my bracelet. Now, just quickly to show you, if I didn't want to make one with 4 branches, I could just pick up 3, and I wanted to do one with 3 branches, like a trefoil. I would just pick up 3 beads to begin with and make a ring of the 3, and only build 3 Super Picots, 1 on each of the 3 beads. That's it. Have a look at video number 2 and you'll see, as I said earlier, how to build this, the little medieval cross. And I'll show you bonus how to build this little Byzantine cross too. See you in a minute.